Hey everyone, have you ever wondered if an ancient recipe for love, I'm talking 2,000 years old, could actually save a modern marriage that's totally falling apart? Well, today we're diving into a story that does just that. It's a story that bridges two millennia, all centered on one simple, powerful place, the kitchen.
It all kicks off with this beautiful, simple line from the Kuruntoke, a piece of Sangam literature. Now, this is classical Tamil poetry from 2,000 years ago. And in just a few words, it paints this incredibly vivid picture of domestic joy. You know, it's about care, it's about nourishment, and it's a feeling of contentment that's going to become the blueprint for the whole story.
So here's the big question we're tackling. How on earth does a line from an ancient poem become the key to unlocking a very modern story about conflict, separation, and maybe, just maybe, finding their way back to each other? Let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first. To really get this story, we've got to understand the ideal that's being described in this Sangam poetry. We need to see what this happiness actually looked like all those years ago.
I mean, the details in the poem are just incredible. You can almost see her delicate fingers, stained from mashing the curds. You can feel the sting of the smoke in her coal-lined eyes. And through all this work, she makes this delicious sweet tamarind curry. But here's the thing, her real joy, her happiness, comes from watching him enjoy it. This isn't about being a servant, it's this powerful idea of love as an action, as nourishment. It's a love you can literally taste and feel.
All right, now let's hit the fast-forward button, about 2,000 years, and meet Vali Suni and her husband, because their world, and especially their kitchen, couldn't be more different from the scene we just imagined. So this is Vali. She's a brilliant software engineer, incredibly successful, and fiercely independent. And for her, the kitchen isn't a place of love or creation, no. To her, it's a historical prison for women, and she wants absolutely nothing to do with it.
And this slide, wow, it just lays the whole conflict bare, doesn't it? On one side, you have the Sangam kitchen, just teeming with life, the smells of spices and curds, and on the other, you have Vali's kitchen. It's sterile, it's modern, it's efficient, and it's completely empty. It's a space designed for function, not feeling. It's a kitchen, but it's not a home.
And this quote from Vali just says it all. In her mind, any time spent cooking is time wasted, time that could be spent on her career, on being productive. So for her, an empty kitchen isn't a failure, it's a victory. It's a symbol of freedom from what she sees as a totally outdated role for women. And then we get to the breaking point. And it all comes down to a simple sack of rice, sent by his mother. For him, this is a taste of home. It's a symbol of his mother's love. But for Vali, it's just clutter. It's this unwelcome piece of the past invading her perfectly streamlined life. And the fight they have, well, it's not really about the rice, is it? It's about their two worlds smashing into each other. And it's the final straw. They decide to get a divorce. So why was this rice such a huge deal? Well, you have to understand its cultural weight. Mapilai Kempa literally translates to bridegroom's rice. It's this traditional Tamil rice that was historically given to a groom to build his strength for the marriage. So, when Vali rejected the rice, she wasn't just rejecting a bag of grain. In his eyes, she was rejecting a core tradition tied to family, to marriage, to their entire culture.
But just when you think it's all over, just as they're about to make the separation official, the entire world changes, and it forces their story down a path neither of them could have ever seen coming.
And just like that, the world slams on the brakes. A national lockdown is announced, and suddenly he's stranded. No trains, no taxis, nothing. He has nowhere to go. And in a moment of sheer desperation, he ends up back on Vali's doorstep. A global pandemic forces these two people, who are literally days away from a divorce, to quarantine together for 48 days. Trapped, with absolutely nowhere to run from each other. So, they're confined, they're isolated, and the outside world has just been stripped away. And in that quiet, something totally unexpected starts to happen in the one place that drove them apart in the first place, the kitchen.
And in the silence of their forced isolation, he starts to really see her for the first time in a long time. Not as his opponent in an argument, but as a person. She's lost weight, she looks vulnerable, and then he walks into the kitchen, their old battleground, and he finds peace. Their new pots and pans, a new stove, and the fridge is full of vegetables. Vali, in her own quiet way, had already surrendered. Her ideology had finally buckled under a simple human need, the need to eat. And this is where tradition finds a way back into their lives, but with a modern twist. His mother, who's miles and miles away, starts teaching him to cook over WhatsApp.
She shares pati kamao, grandmother's cooking. These are the recipes that get passed down through generations, full of love and care. And now they're being beamed digitally into their high-rise apartment.
You can literally watch them heal, step by step. It all starts with her quiet, vulnerable request. Then comes the connection to his mom, to his heritage, through the act of cooking. And day by day, he cooks, and they start eating together. And over those 48 days, that very sack of rice, the thing that broke them, slowly empties. And as it does, their apartment fills back up with love.
And that, my friends, brings us full circle, right back to that ancient poem and its timeless, powerful wisdom.
I mean, just look at this. It's unreal. The Sangam poem says the heroine's face revealed her happiness when he ate her food. And at the end of this modern story, after 48 days of being nourished by him, the author says Vali's face glowed. It's the exact same emotion. It's this unbroken thread of love shown through care and food, stretching across 2,000 years of history.
And the story ends with just a touch of magic. As their own personal storm finally clears, the story tells us that the world outside begins to heal too. It's a bit of a fairy tale ending, right? But it's this beautiful reminder that even in the darkest times, renewal is always possible. That maybe love, in its simplest form, is the best antidote to isolation we have. So, we're left with this thought. A global crisis forced this couple to look back 2,000 years to find a way forward. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our own busy, fast-paced modern lives, what ancient wisdom are we just completely overlooking? What simple recipes for happiness might be hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to slow down enough to rediscover them?